Good morning. My name is Evie. Welcome back to my channel in the spirit of marching forward. It is March 4th, and here I am again with the video. And I just wanted to talk about 10 ways that leaving the US helped me heal. So, short backstory, I left the US last fall for a little bit over a month. And before I left, I was feeling burnt out. I was feeling dysregulated in some ways and just feeling a lot of things from, at that point, years of traumatic events, some of which maybe I'll talk about on this channel. Maybe I won't. We'll see. But I was feeling done. Like I needed a break. And because I worked freelance at the time, it wasn't a time break. Like I could and did take breaks from work periodically and go see family, um, just chill and live life. But it wasn't doing it like I needed it to be done. And it became clear to me that I needed to leave the country. And so I did last fall. And so um, I came back a different person. I remember having brunch a couple days after I came back, and a friend was like, "You look different. Like you're different. Like your whole thing is different." And so that was affirmative to me. I knew I was different, but it was affirmation to me that I got what I went for. And so I'm going to discuss in this video the 10 ways that leaving the US helped me heal. So the first one is it increased and restored my faith and reminded me that God is not only good, but God is good to me. So the traumas and the challenges and the trials of from 2021 to 2023 really had me questioning some things like, does God really rock with me like that? Like, why would this happen? I mean, one of the things that happened to me, several people told me that if it had happened to them, they would be in a mental institution. And so I just was like, I don't understand. I'm a good person. Who among us is good? We do good things, but we all have our different pieces. Anyway, I really was questioning things, but I think even how I was able to take the trip and um, all of those things really restored my faith, and so many things that happened during the trip restored my faith in like God is good and he's good to me. Like he's looking out for me still. Number two, it helped to restore my sense of adventure. And so before I left, I did not have accommodations, which I have done that before in my 20s, maybe early 30s, gone someplace and not known where I was going to stay. It had been years since I had gone someplace without accommodations, not knowing where I was going to stay. All I had was a plane ticket. And so this was that again in my 40s. And, there were some moments where I was like, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be sleeping on a bench? But it all worked out. And as it does, thank God. But yeah, it restored my sense of adventure, also my sense of autonomy. I think a lot of things that we do, a lot of environments that we're in, especially in this country, we don't feel like we have control over our lives. We don't feel like we have, say in a lot of things. And I think it restored that for me in a way. Next, it challenged me. And I believe that challenges are growth opportunities, but also they are just, I think, the foundation of our strength, and so much of our lives are better because of the challenges. I think if we didn't have challenges, life would be kind of boring. And also, I think that we would be tossed like to and fro, and we wouldn't know what to do if we hadn't already experienced the challenge that helped us through upcoming challenges. So it challenged me. From climbing mountains that I didn't know I was going to have to climb to see certain sites, to staying in interesting Airbnbs with factors that I didn't know were going to be there. like noise from neighbors, crying babies, fights, a cat in one Airbnb where I had my own room and own bathroom, but there was a cat there, which I didn't see in the Airbnb listing. So yeah, it challenged me in ways that I hadn't been challenged in a while. I think when you live life the way that I do, which is kind of like, I do my own thing, you can kind of avoid challenges and avoid challenging people. But in a space in countries that I don't live in, I don't know people, there were challenges where, yeah, I could have chosen to walk away, but I knew that it would be good if I did. I think sometimes when we choose challenges, it makes it easier to navigate the challenges that we don't get to choose. The strength that we build in those challenges that we choose strengthens us to navigate the challenges that we don't choose. Next, it helped to restore my sense of safety in my body and my surroundings. So briefly, some of the things that occurred between 21 and 23 were physically traumatizing. And so I don't know, I think the kids call it, or modern day, whatever calls it, restoring your nervous system or resetting your nervous system. It did that. So yeah, that was a blessing. It put my intuition to the test. So as a woman traveling around France, Spain, Portugal by myself, it looks different. Like, it's not a common thing like it is in NYC to see people by themselves. You don't often see women, especially brown women, by themselves in certain places in the world. And so there were some instances where I was like wondering about whether I was safe. And, I just followed my intuition. And it's really something that I've gotten really better at as I've gotten older. I think I really wish and hope women would get, like, you don't have to be nice, especially if that nice is at the risk of your safety. Like, if you feel like you don't want to ride the elevator with somebody, do not ride the elevator with somebody. Do not do something to make somebody feel better while making yourself feel small or making yourself feel unsafe. Follow how you feel. Like, people have left this place, Earth, not following their intuition, especially women. Moving on. It gave me uninterrupted time in nature and time to meet with God. So part of the reason why I went on this trip, did I say where I went? I went to France, Spain, and Portugal. Part of the reason I went on the trip, a big reason that I went on the trip, was to walk on the Camino de Santiago. I worked on the Portuguese route specifically. And the Camino definitely was more challenging than I thought that it would be, but it was a lot of time in nature. I mean, for a lot of my walking, there was not another soul in sight. Just roosters and random animals. Actually, on some of the Camino, there were like horses and burros and donkeys, just not tied up nowhere, just wandering, just grazing, minding their business. And I was minding my business and they didn't bother me. I mean, it was so interesting. But I think when you're in nature, God is in nature. God is nature. And I just feel like I had some transformative experiences on that trip, specifically when I was in those places in nature where there was no one else. It was me and God. And I really feel like in some of them Spanish and Portuguese forests, some stuff lifted up off of me that needed to go. Spiritually, mentally, emotionally. I left some things in Spain, and I'm grateful. Next, I got to eat whatever I wanted to eat. It healed me in that way. So here, I don't eat. I'm not very, very limited in my eating, but I do eat a specific way because not eating that way can cause me gastrointestinal issues. And so I don't eat a lot of meat. I try not to eat gluten. I don't eat dairy here. And when I was in Europe, I ate whatever I wanted to eat, and I had no issues. I remember about 7 years ago, my sister lived in the Netherlands, and I was a vegetarian, or maybe I was a vegan at the time. And we went out to eat as a family, and she said, "Girl, you don't have to worry about eating stuff here. Like, it's fine." And I don't know why I felt free in that moment to do so, but I ate everything that was put in front of me. I did not have any issues, no stomach issues, no issues. Like I felt completely fine. And it was a revelation to me like food is different. Our food is different. Actually, short story, I enjoy Cheetos. I don't eat Cheetos. I like it is from my childhood. I love Cheetos. I do not eat Cheetos because they're terrible for you, the ingredients, but I do love them. So when I was in Spain or Portugal, I stopped at this store when I was walking because I was hungry and I saw Cheetos and I was like, oh, let me get some Cheetos. When I tell you those Cheetos were only apparently Cheetos because Cheetos was on the outside of the packaging, they did not look, taste, smell, nothing. They actually kind of look like veggie straws. And I said, well, I'll be. And what it was a revelation of is a lot of the things that are allowed in American food and snacks are not allowed in the ones in Europe. They are banned because they are toxic and detrimental to health. And so I said, well, everything, because the things weren't even really good. I said, well, everything that makes the Cheeto good and makes it what it is not good for you. So it was a revelation. I don't even know if I finished the bag of Cheetos, those Cheetos, but it was like, wow. So yeah. Next, it was a break from the American news cycle. So I have a TV, haven't turned it on in over a year. Um, I don't really engage with the news like that because I have found it to be toxic to my mental and emotional health and traumatizing. But I think being in an environment where a lot of other people do, there's only so much you can avoid it. And in Europe, Spain, Portugal, France, I did not encounter that. People are living their lives, minding their business. They don't care, which I love that for them. Because here's the thing. People make the case or the argument that you need to watch the news to stay informed. But what are you staying informed about? If I'm staying informed about, which to me a lot of times feels like staying fearful about things that I don't have control over, what difference does it make? All it does is ruin the opportunity for me to enjoy whatever's left of this life while this impending doom that the news is telling me about is on its way. I refuse at this point. I've spent enough time down and out. I refuse at this point to waste away whatever time, whatever life I have left worried about what's going to come. And I think you can be prepared, but I don't think that's what the news and media promotes. I think it promotes being afraid, and I refuse. Next, it made me look closely at my spending habits. So I left here with a carry-on and a book bag. And it was a revelation. I lived out of a carry-on and a book bag for over a month. I wore the same pair of shoes every day for over a month. And it really was like, you don't need all the things you think you need. You have way too much stuff. The way that I was able to, and I ended up throwing away some stuff. Some of the stuff that I took, I ended up throwing away because I was like, I don't need this. I'm not going to use this. At this point, it's XX baggage that I don't want. And I threw away some stuff. So it was a revelation to me. And also, I didn't have access to certain e-commerce sites that all of us or most of us spend a lot of money and time on. And so I didn't use it. If I needed something, I went to the store. And so yeah, that was a revelation. Next, it was a break from some of what I now believe to be coping mechanisms. So like I said, I only took a carry-on in a book bag. And I mean, the clothes I bought were functional, but they weren't necessarily fashionable, but it didn't matter. No one cared. People, except for like the major cities that I went to, and even then it was to a small extent. People were not doing a whole lot fashion-wise. And it really was like a revelation. Like, I think in this country we do a lot aesthetically because we've been conditioned to believe that we as we are, without the name brand thing, without the certain fashion staple, without the makeup, without whatever, we're not enough. And just traversing the Iberian Peninsula and France without it was like a revelation. Girl, you don't need that. That's extra. If you want to do it, fine, but it's not a necessity. Like there was a period of time where I had left my bag at the end of the Camino and I forgot like what I would have called essential, like my eyeliner. Like I don't wear a lot of makeup. I don't wear foundation, but I do wear eyeliner every day. But I did not have my eyeliner. I forgot my eyeliner. And it was like, it was fine. No one cared. And yeah, there was a time in my life, like I'm on a red lip now, but I wear a red lip probably every couple of weeks. I used to wear red lipstick. I used to wear makeup every day. This was probably like 10 years ago in my 20s, 30s, early 30s. And I think it's because I thought I had to. I think I thought I wasn't attractive without it. And being in a place where you don't have access to something, I think really forces you to look at it more closely. Like, is this something that I really need or is this something that I want? And why do I want it? Anyway, next. Oh, that was it. So yeah, those were the ways that I feel like leaving the US healed me and really just made me think of myself and life and living, work, all of these things that we think of as necessities and commonplace in the US made me really rethink them and wonder what I can do to get rid of some stuff and how I can reformulate some things in my life in order to live better here while I'm here. Because I'm trying to get going. But another topic for another day. But I'm so grateful for the trip. Like I came back feeling restored, and I feel like as soon as I got back, so maybe a couple days after I got back, I started a 9 to 5 for like the first time in 6 years. And for the first couple of weeks, I was really able to maintain the joy, the peace, and all the things that I felt like I brought back from Europe with me. But after, a couple of weeks, I started realizing, oh, you were burnt out and you were exhausted before you left because this place is exhausting. And that is the thing about this country. I think so many of us are burnt out. So many of us are worn out, not because of our own moral failing, not because of all these things that we got going on. Those are part of it, but because where we live is exhausting. And I think it's that way by design. Because I think when you're exhausted, you make fear-based and comfort-based decisions, and not necessarily the best decisions for you. Usually, those decisions are come with a cost that benefits some $1 trillion industry. Whole another topic for another video. But yes, thank you so much for watching my video. You could be anywhere on the World Wide Web, but you're here with me and I appreciate it. Bye.